Here's a question. You own $250,000 in property, a business, and investments. How fast could you put $20,000 in cash in your hand? Not sell something eventually, not, I could figure it out. 30 days. Go. Most people freeze right there. Not because they're poor, because they're illiquid. And illiquid people don't panic during a crisis because they're weak. They panic because every dollar they own is locked inside something else. In 2007, thousands of people had more paper wealth than ever in history. By 2009, many of those same people were bankrupt. Their assets didn't disappear. Their access did. There's a name for what happened to them. Economists call it being a forced seller. A forced seller is someone who has to sell an asset on someone else's timeline, not their own. And forced sellers never get a fair price. Ever. Here's the number that should bother you. Real estate is the largest asset most people own, and it's also the least liquid major asset class that exists. If you need to exit a property in 30 days, expect a 20 to 30% discount. Minimum. That's not a bad market. That's just what illiquidity costs. Now here's the part almost nobody tells you. The wealthiest investors in modern history obsess over this exact number. 30 days. Warren Buffett has kept Berkshire Hathaway sitting on tens of billions in cash for years. Analysts kept asking him the same question. Why hold so much cash when stocks are climbing? Charlie Munger, his partner for over 60 years, gave the real answer. Markets don't fall gently. They dislocate. And dislocation is where fortunes change hands. If you're illiquid when that moment comes, you're not buying the opportunity. You're the opportunity. Someone else's cash becomes your discount. This is why the rich rarely panic in a downturn. It's not confidence, it's construction. They built the 30-day rule into their life before the storm ever started. Benjamin Graham, the investor who taught both Buffett and Munger, called this principle margin of safety. His argument wasn't pessimism, it was math. Assume you're wrong 25% of the time. Then structure your money so being wrong that often still doesn't ruin you. Most people do the opposite. They structure their life assuming they'll always be right. One emergency, one layoff, one bad month, and the whole thing tips over. So what does it actually mean to be liquid enough? Liquid doesn't mean cash sitting in a checking account earning nothing. That has its own hidden cost, and almost nobody calculates it. If inflation runs at 7% and your savings account pays you 2%, do the math. You're losing 5% of your money's power every single year, while it just sits there. In 15 years, that same pile of cash buys half of what it buys today. That's not safety. That's slow, invisible confiscation. So hoarding cash fails. And overcommitting to property or a business fails too. There has to be a third option. And there is. Think of your money as existing in 3 different speeds, not one single number. Speed 1, assets that grow slowly but hold their value for decades. Property, land. Things that can't be created overnight and don't vanish overnight either. Speed 2, capital that's actively working. A business, investments compounding through reinvestment. This is where most of your growth actually comes from, but it's slow to access. Speed 3, capital you can move within days, not weeks. Days. This is your oxygen. It's what lets you breathe when speed 1 and 2 get stuck. Most people never build speed 3 on purpose. They just spend whatever's left over. Which means when opportunity or disaster shows up, they have nothing loaded and ready. Ask yourself something honest right now. If the best investment opportunity of your life appeared tomorrow, could you actually act on it? If your answer is, I'd have to sell something first, you've already lost the moment. If your answer is yes, but only by going into debt, you've broken the same rule from the other direction. Speed 3 capital isn't emergency money sitting there out of fear. It's ammunition, kept loaded on purpose, so you can fire when the target actually appears. Here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about having 3 buckets, it's about when each bucket comes due. And this is the part financial advisors almost never mention. Most people diversify by category. Stocks, real estate, a business. That feels safe. But if all 3 mature, lock up, or get stuck at the exact same time, you haven't diversified anything. You've just synchronized your risk and called it a strategy. This exact mistake shows up everywhere. A 30-year mortgage, a retirement account locked for 20 years, bonds that all mature a decade from now. On paper, it looks balanced. In practice, if a crisis hits in year 7, nothing you own is actually available. You're not diversified, you're paralyzed, and you won't know it until you need to move. The fix has a name: maturity laddering. Stagger when your capital becomes available. Some capital returns this year, some in 3 years, some in 5. The goal isn't to predict the future, it's to make sure something is always coming back to you, while the rest of your capital keeps working somewhere else. This is exactly how old merchant fortunes survived centuries of wars, famines, and currency collapses. Not one massive shipment risking everything. Multiple smaller ventures, returning at different times. If one voyage failed, it didn't sink the whole fortune. Something else was always coming home. Modern investors call this the same thing under a different name: capital rotation. Money isn't meant to sit in a vault. It's meant to move, return, and move again. A vault doesn't compound. A river does. So here's the honest inventory most people have never actually done. List everything you own, then classify it by one real question. Could I convert this to cash in 30 days without a fire sale discount? Most people discover something uncomfortable. 70 to 90% of what they own is stuck, which means they are exactly one crisis away from becoming a forced seller. You can't fix this overnight. You can't sell half a house tomorrow. But you can stop feeding the stuck categories and start rebuilding the liquid one. Every extra dollar goes towards speed 3 until the balance restores itself. Then you ladder your working capital so pieces of it return on a rotation, not all at once. A portion tied up for 1 year, another for 3, another for 5. So capital is always coming home, even while the rest keeps compounding. Now, some people take this even further. They pool liquidity together. A small group agrees that if one person needs capital fast for a crisis or an opportunity, the group can move first. No one breaks their own 30-day rule. The group absorbs the shock together. This isn't a new idea. Merchant guilds did it. Early credit unions did it. The tool changes. The principle never does. Someone's liquidity becomes everyone's protection. Let's go back to 2008 for a moment, because the contrast is almost too clean to be real. Some investors were forced to sell homes, stakes in businesses, entire portfolios at the worst possible moment. Other investors, holding cash reserves built years earlier, went shopping. Berkshire Hathaway deployed over $25 billion into distressed companies during that single crisis. Not because Buffett predicted the crash, because he was positioned for it years in advance. The crisis didn't create his opportunity. His structure did. Same storm, 2 completely different outcomes. And the difference was decided years before the storm even started. This is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. The next crisis is not a question of if. It never has been. It's only a question of when. And on that day, your 30-day number will already be fixed. You won't be able to change it in time. Whatever you've built before that day arrives is the only version of you that shows up to meet it. So the real question was never, how do I get rich? It was always, how do I stay standing? Rich people aren't calmer because they have more money. Plenty of people with more money still panic. They're calmer because they built a structure that doesn't require them to guess right every time. Graham was blunt about this. He said the most dangerous investor isn't the reckless one. It's the confident one. The one so sure of their own analysis that they commit everything to it. Confidence without a margin of safety isn't strength. It's just risk wearing a better outfit. So here's the actual test to run on your own life, starting today. Not how much am I worth? That number means almost nothing during a crisis. The real question is, how much of what I own could become cash in 30 days without punishing me for it? If that number is close to zero, you are not wealthy. You are illiquid and hoping nothing happens. And hope is not a financial strategy. It never has been. The fix doesn't require you to sell everything and start over. It requires one decision, repeated consistently. Every time new money comes in, ask where it's going. Land, business, or liquid. And keep asking until liquid stops being the leftover and starts being the boundary. Because the boundary isn't there to slow you down. It's there so nothing can force you to move. Not the market, not a bank, not a bad month, not anyone else's timeline. You decide when you sell, you decide when you buy. That's what the 30-day rule actually protects. Not your comfort, your control. Think back to the question at the very start of this video. How fast could you actually put $20,000 in your hand? If your honest answer bothered you, that discomfort is the most useful thing this video gave you. Because now, you know exactly where the gap is. And a gap you can see is a gap you can close. You didn't lose to the market last time things got hard. Most people don't. You lost to your own structure. And structure is the one thing you're actually allowed to rebuild. The next crisis is still coming. It always is. But this time, you get to decide which version of you shows up to meet it.